presentation. Well, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much to be with us. So this is the second webinar in our course, and we have 1 hour, I suppose, or less than that, of opportunity to share more information. But we would like more to discuss with you some of this information that we are going to share, and also the activities that you have the opportunity to do it during the last week. Well, in fact, AI tools became increasingly present in higher education, so there is a growing need to help both educators and students to develop skills required to use these technologies in a way critically, ethically, and effectively. So the course has this aim, and the speakers, we organized this one for this webinar. However, we decided now to change, and David will be the first one, talking about AI tools and generation of tutor books in response to the interest of surveyed participants. And after that, it will be Alfredo with these two subjects. And I will finalize with some presentation about UNESCO AI document. And we have also the opportunity to discuss all these issues at the end of our web meeting. So, David, I think the floor is yours. I will get out from this short presentation.
Thank you.
It's up to you.
Thank you very much, Fernando. Okay, can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for being here. My name is David Diaz, and I'm a professor at the University of Alcalá in Spain. It's a pleasure to take part in this second webinar and to share this space with all of you. First, we are going to look at the survey results. In this, in this webinar, I will focus on the topic you chose in the survey, especially the ones marked in red. The order in blue, I probably see in the face-to-face webinar next week. This includes chatbots, AI tool for research, image, video, and audio tools, and also the creation of AI-based tutors, as you request in the survey. We will start with ChatGPT. Gemini is very similar, so we will only talk about it briefly. I usually use the desktop application of ChatGPT because it is more practical and easier to use. But the browser version is very similar. These are the main parts of the interface, and we will look at them one by one. In the usage option, we can create a new chat, final chat, a connect application, and also use a codecs for programming tasks here. At the top, we can see the model we are using and the active GPT. We can also create group chat for collaborate work or private chats here. Here we can access to the GPT store. We can find and use many different GPTs for specific tasks. Here. GPTs are a special version of ChatGPT for different tasks. For example, we can find GPTs for teaching, programming, research, or language learning. This is also the place when we can create our own GPTs. However, this is only in the paid version, as I will explain in the end of the presentation. Here we can create project and organize our work. These are custom ChatGPT species where we can add instruction, upload documents, and invite other people to work together. Below, we can also find the chat history. Here, we have the ChatGPT settings. There is also another video about the setting in the course materials, and you can open it. If you want, you can use this link to open the video if you need it. Among the different modes and application in ChatGPT, sorry, this is the chatbot. Here we write the prompt or question for ChatGPT. We can also upload files, use different modes and application, or start a voice conversation. Among the different modes and application in ChatGPT, I think that deep research is probably one of the most interesting for education. This mode can search information from many sources. It can also summarize scientific information and generate full reports. One important advantage is that this mode can share trusted academic sources such as PubMed. This mode can generate long academic tests about a specific topic, for example, in Word. The process can take some time, sometimes even around 30 or more minutes, but the final result usually is very complete and useful. Gemini has improved significantly in recent years and now is more similar to ChatGPT. It also includes different tools and functions for everyday academic and professional tasks in the similar way that ChatGPT do. The course materials also include other chatbot and text generation tools such as Copilot, Perplexity, and many others. As requested in the survey, we will now look at research tools with potential teaching application. These are some of the AI research tools included in the course materials. We look at some of them and their possible use in teaching. Consensus is an AI tool that analyzes scientific papers to answer the research question. You can ask scientific questions in the chat, and the tools searches scientific paper related to the topic here. It also shows consensus meter here, indicating whether most papers agree or disagree. It also gives a short summary of the main results and the papers used for the answer. We can also apply filters in a very similar way to PubMed and other scientific search engines here. It's a very powerful tool for scientific. SciSpace include many tools for research and academic work. You can see here. One of his most powerful or useful features is the ability to analyze papers and start figures and key information, as I will show you in the next example. Here. We can search for or upload a scientific paper in SciSpace. Here. The papers are shown in the table. Each row is a paper and each column contains the information we want to analyze. Here. We can also interact with scientific paper using Pop AI. This tool can create presentation, prepare journal club, create species, and perform many academic tasks with scientific articles. It is especially useful uploading and analyzing papers. Here. We upload the scientific paper, and then we can ask questions or interact with the AI about the paper. As you can see in this slide, in Spanish, but in this slide. Sorry about it. There are also powerful AI-based search tools, such as Connected Papers, which create visual network of similar scientific papers. Each node represents a paper, and the connection shows similar topic and scientific citation. These helps identify important papers, research trends, and key studies in specific fields. We can do something similar or even more powerful, in my opinion, with tools such as Research Rabbit. With Research Rabbit, we can explore scientific papers using many filters and connections, such as similar author, related topic, different years, and important papers. This makes it easier to discover relevant studies and explore a research field indeed. It's a really very useful AI tool for the scientifics. And as some of you also requested in the survey, I will now explain how create tutors, in my case for immunology, but it can be used in very discipline. In this part of the course, we explore how AI tutors can support university teaching, helping students with feedbacks and more active learning. The key part is the design process itself, defining the tutor role, creating the prompt, and adding teaching materials to the GPT. As we saw at the beginning of the session, we first click on Explore GPTs, and then we click on Create to start designing our own GPT tutor. In the first screen, we simply chose the model we want to use in the tutor. And this is the most complicated part of the configuration. The setting area is where most of the important work is done. Here we define the name and description of the tutor, and we can either generate a logo with AI or upload our own image. One of the key elements is the setting parts, where we introduce the main prompt and define how the GPT tutors should work. Here. We can also add a conversation starters so a student can begin interacting with the tutor more easily. The second major component is the knowledge part, where we upload the files and teaching materials that the GPT tutor use to answer a student question. Finally, the table shows some practical limits and useful tips for improve the tutor. This slide shows the main setting of our immunology GPT tutor. Here we define the tutor role, the type of answer it should give, and the way it should interact with the student. This setting determines how the tutor works. In this example, we can see how the GPT answers the student question using the uploaded teaching material here. As shown in the panel of the right, the tutor searches those documents and finds the information needed to answer the question. And in this example, and at the end, the tutor also asked a question to help the student think more about the topic. We can do something similar using a free tool such as POW. In the same way, we have to define the settings and upload the teaching material that the tutor will use to answer student questions. To share the GPT with a student, we simply send them an email with the link and a few instructions on how to use it here. In our case, we also include a short survey so a student can give feedback and tell us how useful and effective they found the GPT tutor. As you can see, students responded very positively to the GPT. In the evaluation survey, the tutor had a mean score of 4.6 out of 5. And to finish, thank you very much for your attention. I hope to see many of you again next week in our workshop. Thank you very much. And thank you, Fernando.
Okay, David, thank you very much for your presentation. I don't know if someone would like to make a question now or if we continue on the session of questions at the end of this webinar. But anyway, if someone would like to start a discussion or some doubt, some point they would like to develop. Okay, well, we will continue. We will have the opportunity at the end of the webinar to detail some points. So, Alfredo, I suppose you have already your presentation. Yeah, it's okay. So, please, the floor is yours.
Alfredo,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you, Alfredo.
Yes.
You see the application?
Yes,
yes.
we see.
Yes,
yes. Yeah.
I am Alfredo Prieto, teacher of immunology from the University of Alcalá, Spain. In this presentation, I introduce you into 3 topics. First, how to learn to explore the frontier of ability of generative AI tools in your own discipline. Second, I will give you some indications that will help you to plan an intervention to introduce student activities using GenAI tools into one of your own courses. And third, I will explain what we will do in the 27th of May in the person meeting. Now I go to explain different paths to explore the AI frontier. There is a very easy way of inquiry about the AI frontier. We can ask AI about its own ability limits, such as is perceived, declared, and recognized by AI itself. This exploration will let us to discover the relevant literature, articles, blog posts, and even books on the subject, and we can read them and assimilate the information they contain. This is a good start, but it is much better to prove the ability of AI experimentally by asking questions of your own discipline, as some of you have done. How to test experimentally the frontier of AI in our own discipline? We can make this test asking to the AI questions from student exercises or some questions whose answer we know very well because we are experts in our own discipline. We should adjust the AI tool to their maximum ability. That is, first, thinking mode, second, deep research, and third, active access to sources in the web. The frontier of AI is a concept developed by Fabrizio Dell'Acqua. As you can see, Fabrizio is quite similar to an Italian cousin of Fernando Remiao and has the same hairstyle. What is the AI frontier? The AI frontier distinguishes between 2 types of questions and activities. Within the frontier lie those questions and tasks that current AI handles well, whilst outside it lie those questions that current AI is not capable of handling well. How is the AI frontier? The frontier is fluid and evolves rapidly as the capabilities of AI tools change and improve with time. Is multidimensional, is different for different tasks within different fields or disciplines. Is jagged, that is, AI tools can perform very well on tasks that are very complex for humans and fail at others that are simpler for humans. The jagged frontier of AI ability is an irregular boundary between the 2 types of tasks, which has been compared to the walls of an Italian star fortress. University teachers must discover where that boundary lies in our discipline, at least currently. We must explore it and exploit it by proposing activities at the limits of that boundary so that our students learn to choose which tasks to use AI for and also become capable of detecting and correcting when AI does not perform well. If you want to learn more about this topic, I recommend that you read the original article written by Fabrizio Dell'Acqua or the post from the blog Professor 3.0 entitled "What is the result of collaboration between humans and generative artificial intelligence on the professional performance of workers in the knowledge sector?" If you don't read Spanish, now thanks to generative AI technology, you can use the new widget app of the blog for automatic translation. It is very difficult to predict the current capabilities of GenAIs in a specific discipline because these tools have emerging capabilities for which they were not specifically created, and these capabilities are growing rapidly. The capabilities of GenAI increase quickly. ChatGPT 3.5 barely passed an immunology exam in 2023. ChatGPT 4.0 got a B in 2024. And now, with the advanced reasoning mode of the paid version, ChatGPT 5.5 gets an A or an A plus. LLM-based GenAIs work in a opaque way. They know things, but do not remember well from which sources they have learned. This problem has been solved with LMR-based GenAIs that can obtain information from internet in real time. For these reasons, each field expert must visit the front of eye in their discipline and put to the test the current capabilities of different Gen AI tools and versions. So our first mission in relation to the Gen AI as teachers and experts in our discipline is to put AI tools to the test. This research is what we call Ability AI Tool Audit. This audit includes which questions in your discipline does an AI tool get right and which questions does it get wrong. And also, what is an AI tool capable of doing and what it is not capable of doing. We recommend you to do 3 types of exercises for the exploration of the AI frontier in your own discipline. First, explore and discover the Gen AI frontier, asking easy and more difficult questions to several AI tools. Then contrast and compare the responses from the different tools. Second, we will also propose you to explore your own frontiers as human expert, both in your discipline, but also in the craft of teaching your discipline. You can find more information about this in the appendix of this presentation. Third, we also will recommend to you to explore the frontier of AI not as an expert, but from the naive perspective of your students. You can request your students to ask the AI questions that it might get wrong and encourage them to be critical of the AI's responses. You can encourage them to be suspicious and to spot any potential hallucinations on the part of the eye. By this way, your students will exercise and develop their skills for critical eye literacy. We propose you a practical exercise for your learning portfolio. First, ask an AI to answer a series of questions from an exam in your subject. It will probably answer some correctly and others incorrectly. Second, in the Google Form report, provide some questions that it answers correctly and some that it answers incorrectly. Provide also some questions that AI answers correctly but justifies them incorrectly. And third, analyze these two types of filelet answers. Can you see or suspect why it is wrong in each case? What can be the cause of the hallucination of the AI? Fourth, after critically analyzing AI answers and justifications, you can speculate on the reasons for its mistakes. What will you gain from this reflective exercise? In this way, you can find out how far extends the AI's ability to accurately answer questions related to the subject you teach. You will also discover which questions from your course the AI might get wrong. After making this exploration of the AI frontier in your discipline, you can answer this questionnaire. 6 of you have done this exercise. I would like to congratulate you on your work. These are the 6 champions in this exercise, and the winner is Vesna Bulatovic because she answered the first, answered well, and answered 2 times. The team of teachers and staff from UNS, University of Novi Sad, is winning by now in this exercise. In a second stage, you can ask students make exercises within the AI frontier. Once you know where the frontier is, what AI do well and what are its areas of difficulty, you can first use, as David told, use AI as a tutor for the things that AI can explain and do well. Second, you can displace and expand the frontier of an AI tool. You can train AI with your discipline information to expand its frontier in your field. With a ChatGPT paid account, you can create a tutor chatbot prompted by you and train it with your own instructive materials. This tutor bot will answer your students' questions 7 days a week and 24 hours a day. You only need to send your students a link like this. DVD explain it to you an easy way to program an expert tutor bot. But you can also propose students exercise out the AI frontier. You can use file AI responses as tests that your students have to analyze. To reinforce this critical and transparent approach, you can develop a plan to introduce into one of your undergraduate courses activities in which students have to report the results of AI tools in a structured and transparent way by means of Google Forms. Now, I'll give you indications to plan such as intervention to introduce student inquiry activities using GenAI tools into one of your own courses. The general indications are, first, think about the learning outcomes you want your students achieve when covering that specific unit. Second, think about how will we provide students with the materials they need to study before coming to class, and how you will motivate them to carry out the AI-based inquiry task. For this, you can use emails posted on the learning management system of your course. Third, what instructional materials will you provide for them to study, and how you can inspire them to explore aspects that interest the most to each of them, or in the specific topics suggested by you, their teacher. Fourth, how will we collect the results of their AI-based investigations? Our suggestion for this is to use online structured Google or Microsoft forms. Five, how do we instruct them or provide guidance so they can use AI tools to investigate the concepts we want them to learn? And six, how we assess the activities. You have to generate some formative assessment activities, problems, case studies, discussions, MCQ questions to provide feedback on what they have explored, what they have learned, and what remains to be learned. We suggest to include conceptual questions and metacognitive reflection questions in the online Google or Microsoft forms. Now, to close this presentation, we will remember the things we will do at the physical workshop at Alcalá, Madrid, the 27th of May. The physical workshop will start at 11 a.m. at the building of Facultad de Económicas, and the workshop will finish at 12:30. In the first part of the in-person meeting, I will explain how to achieve AI literacy in our students, and also will speak on technical topics such as advanced prompting exercises. David Diaz will explain how to use artificial intelligence tools to improve your teaching. David also will teach more information about how to program chatbots in natural language for expert student tutoring. And is saying Fernando Remiao will conduct and moderate the disciplinary groups discussions and pulling their conclusions. And finally, Fernando Remiao will close the workshop summarizing the main conclusions attained during the phases of discussion and pullings. You, the participants will work in the disciplinary groups to pull your experiences and projects for the scene of learning experiences with AI tools. Thank you for your attention. And this table shows how many of you have made the exercise we have proposed until now. That's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Alfredo. I have also a 4-slide presentation to finish this part of our webinar. And after that, we will have the opportunity to some questions and doubts. I will share my presentation. It's only to reinforce some of the ideas that Alfredo already discussed with you. In fact, it's a work that is being done between me, Fernando Remião, from University of Porto, and Amélia Veiga, also from the same university. but she's from education sciences. And what we would like to share with you is some framework or a document from UNESCO that has some points that we think it is very important when we are approaching to use AI in education. In fact, this document that UNESCO developed in 2024, they were able to organize the competencies in 5 points: the human-centered mindset, and I'm going to go in deep a little bit on this part, the ethics of using AI, and this is one part also that we should take attention. And unfortunately, Mary is not able to be here, but in fact, it will be she's developing this point in her presentation that we share with you. We have also the AI foundations and the applications that Alfredo and David were sharing with you, with many tools that we can use in order to go in deep in these tools of AI. After that, another competence is to use the AI tools in pedagogy and how to do it, and also to use this in professional development. So there are 5 competencies that UNESCO tried to organize, and also they put some points in order how we can develop in this kind of competencies. So it is a document that you can easily obtain because it's free online. And in fact, most of us probably are in the first step of this progression. The progression can be divided in 3 points: acquired, deepen, and create. Well, I'm going only to develop some points of the first and second competencies, because the document uh, are centered in these points as the previous start of using AI as a pedagogical issue. And one thing is the human-centered mindset. So we need to think that the human need to control all the process. And this is one of the main responsibilities of the teachers. So we cannot leave to control the process to the AI. Otherwise, our role as educators disappear. And this document, it's very strong in this kind of approach. And we have also some activities that the document are proposing in order to us to be aware about these risks. So if we get out from the process, if we give to the AI all the education rules, at the end, we are not aware about all the aspects that Alfredo already did, the bias that often happen, and also the answers that are not corrected at all. So, in fact, we need to have a critical thinking about all the process, and we need to teach the students to have this critical thinking. So, is one aspect very developed by this document, and also one aspect that we feel very important for the teachers doing in their classes when they are using this kind of tools, but also to teach students to be aware about it. So when we think acquired in this aspect is to know the rules and the risk of using these kind of tools. When go in the next progression, the deepen, is knowing this, how we can use this in the classes. So in the way that we are going to form students to develop methodologies with them, and also to develop some competencies and skills in students in order that they are aware about the risks of using AI tools. And the last level, the higher level, is when we have the capacity to use all this knowledge that we obtain during this process in order to change the society in a way that can use these kind of tools in a proper way. So we need to create a process during the next time, the next month, the next year, we can say that, in which we are going to develop our skills of using these AI tools in a proper way, doing that always in an approach that's human-centered mindset. Another point that we also share in our videos is the ethics of AI. In fact, there is a lot of discussion about this. In fact, we know that the AI tools use a lot of material from authors and from papers without any consent of these people, of their authors. So we need to be aware that when we are using the information that AI tools are giving to us, someone already created this information. So it is not this kind of tools that are creating information, they are using information that someone put in the internet. And this is one of things that are main discussed, and we need to be also very transparent with students when they are using this material, because they need to try to find, and using tools like David already shared with us, tools that say which kind of information were obtained, who are the authors of this information, who are the authors of these studies, in order to say that this kind of results or this kind of approach are from these persons and not something that happened without any responsibilities. Another position is the deepen, is when we have the responsibility to create during our pedagogical approach to students the skills of students to be responsible for these authors, and also to have to deepen their knowledge about the property, intellectual property. Also, we know that the use of AI can also create deepfake, and we also know that using AI can improve the spread of bad information, and students need to have the responsibility in order to not doing that. So we need, in our pedagogical approach during our classes, put aware the students about the risks of using the bad way this kind of tools. The last level of our population in this kind of creation is creation with AI. So when we create rules with students, when we create ethical rules with students, that we can share with others, and we can be responsible for these rules. So it's something that also we can say that is very connected to the human-centered mindset. So a social responsibility of the way that we use this kind of AI tools. So it's only that we like to share with you. We have this document that you can obtain, but you can also go directly from this PDF. The link is here, and try to see this document, because we think that is a document that it should be a foundation of using AI in higher education. And they have a lot of exercise that we can do in order to know how to use in a proper way these phenomenal tools that we know that we need to use them, and we need to share with students and to create the ability of them to use these tools in a proper way. Thank you. So I hope we could also now discuss a little bit more about these aspects with you. So I will finalize this presentation, and now we have the opportunity to discuss. Fred and David. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
Any questions?
Next week we will be together. Perhaps it will be easier to put in discussion some aspects.
I want to remind to the participants
Please.
that there are exercises to do in preparation for the workshop of the 27th of May. And because if you made these preparation exercises, you will be well prepared for discussion in the in-person session.
You will have these presentations in the platform, so you can read it and use them later. Anyway, some of you would like to discuss some aspects.
I will upload the presentations in the course materials after the finish of the season. So you can see in the course materials. Okay, finish then, Alfredo. Do you want to stop the record of
Okay.
the webinar?